A town of Maine family is displaced tonight. We'll tell you how investigators say the fire started. And the Vestal Town Board has the final say on historic buildings. Action News at 11, right after tonight's Powerball. Good evening, I'm Dave Graber. Pennsylvania State Police have identified the body of a man found in Susquehanna County on Tuesday. State Police identified that victim as 26-year-old Roy Marvin of Halstead. An autopsy was performed earlier this evening, and it showed that Marvin had died of multiple stab wounds, and his death has been ruled a homicide. Marvin's body was found on Harmony Road, which is located about 3 miles from State Route 11. As of now, police are still investigating what exactly happened. Anyone with information is asked to call Pennsylvania State Police. You see the number right there on your screen, 570-465-3154. A second alarm fire in the town of Maine has left a family without a home tonight. Crews from 6 departments responded just after 6:40 this evening to the fire on Old Newark Valley Road. Flames poured out of the front of the home. As fire crews battled the blaze, they also had to deal with deep snow that had built up around the building, which in some spots piled up to more than 2 feet. Crews attacked the flames, and they were able to quickly extinguish the fire that was mostly contained to the front of the home. A woman and 2 children were inside when the fire started. All 3 escaped without injury. Initial investigation shows an electrical malfunction is the most likely cause. New tonight, the Vestal Town Board has voted to override a decision that denied tearing down 12 vacant buildings in the Rivercrest Historic District. The Historic Preservation Commission did not grant the North Star Group permission to tear down those buildings. The houses in Vestal's Rivercrest Historic District were built back in the 1930s. They were granted historic designation in 2009 at both the local and the state levels. But tonight, the board has overturned that decision.
The vote was unanimous on tearing them down. We've been studying this for quite a while. We listened to our historic committee, which they have all the wisdom on the historical properties, and we decided as a board to override their decision because it was in the better use of the land.
Eric Webb owns those properties. He says at this point no decisions have been made regarding how the land will be used once the homes are gone. People involved in the legal battle with IBM and Endicott are getting a look at a proposed settlement reached yesterday. They claimed damages due in part to environmental contamination related to a spill of trichloroethylene, or TCE, that occurred at the North Street facility back in 1979. Now, it's been an ongoing concern in the village of Endicott for years. The terms of the settlement have not yet been released, and attorneys from Levine, Goulden, and Thompson tell Action News they weren't prepared to comment. Neither were residents on Tracy Street this afternoon, which is one of the residential areas where IBM offered and installed ventilation systems. However, we did catch up with one business owner in Endicott who accepted a settlement, a different settlement, from IBM about 6 years ago.
They offered me if I want to settle or if I want to sue them, but I decided to accept the egg and stay waiting for the chicken.
Petrilli said IBM offered a deal of $10,000 to any other business that was worth less than $100,000 and was affected in some way by the contamination. The defense takes aim at the former nanny of the children of Cal Harris, saying the woman's testimony has changed over the years. Former Harris nanny Barbara Thayer returned to the stand today for about 5 hours of testimony. Defense attorney Bruce Barkett compared her prior testimony and her sworn written statements to police in 2001, which he said in court today and yesterday. He pointed out to the jury some inconsistencies. Now, yesterday, Thayer says that she called Michelle's cell phone from the Harris house in the morning of September 12th and looking for her. According to phone records, a call was made at 7:15 from the Harris home to Michelle's cell. But according to previous statements, Thayer tells police that she did not call her that morning. And Barkett questioned if she was even at the Harris house at that time. Thayer will get back on the stand Tuesday morning for more cross-examination from the defense. Testimony will continue on Tuesday after the President's Day holiday. A former Walton teacher is sentenced to jail for having sexual contact with students. That's according to the Delaware County Court. 29-year-old Stephanie Fletcher will serve 6 months in county jail and 10 years of probation upon her release. In December of last year, she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of criminal sex act in the 3rd degree. This for having sexual contact with 2 students at Walton High School, where she was a teacher. As part of her sentencing, Fletcher will register as a sex offender. The Binghamton Police Department is searching for a city resident who's been reported missing. Police say 63-year-old David Tarby was last seen at Handel Street in his apartment on January 22nd. Tarby does not drive, and according to police, he suffers from some kind of mental illness, including bipolar disorder. Anyone with information is asked to contact Binghamton detectives. You see the number right there on your screen, 772-7080. The superintendent of the Union Endicott School District is asking for feedback from the community about next year's proposed budget. Tonight, board members and Superintendent Susan McLeod held the second of 3 work sessions to shape the budget that will go before voters in May. So far, there have been 2 drafts of the budget, each differing by about $400,000. Both also exceed $77 million.
We've just come out of the Great Recession, or we're coming out of the Great Recession, where districts such as Union Endicott, we had to cut over 100 positions in this district in the downturn in the economy. This is going to send us not only back to that level, but much more.
The proposed budget includes a nearly $2 million increase over last year's budget. The next workshop is scheduled for April 15th. By then, they hope to identify some potential areas of savings. New tonight, legendary 60 Minutes correspondent Bob Simon is dead after a car crash in Manhattan. Bob Simon died suddenly tonight in that accident on the West Side. The award-winning newsman was 73. Simon's career spanned 50 years, joining CBS News back in 1967. Although most recently known for his extensive work on 60 Minutes, Simon's career in war reporting was even more extensive, beginning in Vietnam. He was named the Middle East correspondent for CBS News in 1987. He was born in 1941 in the Bronx. Simon was a graduate of Brandeis University. He was also a Fulbright scholar. Simon is survived by his wife, Francois, and their daughter, Tanya, who's a producer for 60 Minutes in New York.
Pretty cool images from the Mirabito Live weather cam in Castle Creek. Notice there's some snow at the beginning of the image, and then as you get towards the end there, it comes to an end. Also, jumping up to Oneonta now, you'll see that that snow wasn't there in the beginning, but then showed up at the end here. Yeah, that's an area of snow that has moved across the Twin Tiers and will continue to do so as we move into the overnight. Not too much weather concern for tonight, but boy, it's going to be turning really cold. How cold? I'll let you know coming up.
All right, Howard, thanks. So to come here on Action News.
Everyone should be eating it.
It could be the future of food, but it might make you a little squeamish. Coming up, you'll find out what ingredient might be taking over the store shelves when Action News at 11 returns. A grocery store in Temple City, California, that's in Los Angeles County, is making headlines for selling what some may say is an unusual food item in its frozen food section. And we're warning you, the video you're about to see may be considered disturbing for some. Health inspectors visited Metro Supermarket on Tuesday after it was informed the market was selling raccoons for food. The raccoons are sold in its entirety for $9.99 per pound. The employees say raccoon meat is considered a delicacy in China.
The way it's packaged in the store, it's so real and it's so fresh, and you don't see chickens with feathers and blood all over them in their expression, you know, with their tongue hanging out.
Now, the health department says that selling raccoons as food can indeed be perfectly legal in California, depending on the origins of the meat, but the market has stopped selling it since the department's visit. An ingredient that might be sweeping the shelves in the future is environmentally friendly and high in protein, but many people might not want to try it because it's made of crickets. Yes, that's right. 2 billion people worldwide already eat insects as their main source of protein. Crickets are twice the protein of beef. A new company in Utah called Chapel gathers crickets, dries them in a convection oven, and grinds them into a flour. The main reason to consider using cricket flours for the future to find an environmentally friendly and efficient way to feed an estimated 9 billion people.
Higher protein than like a whey protein or soy protein, and it's actually much more digestible. One of the best things about them from an agricultural perspective is they just grow so rapidly.
Now, currently, Chapel has made energy bars and even zucchini bread with the cricket flour with many different flavors. Pat says it tastes like any normal energy bar. The texture might just be considered a little more dense. Well, temperatures are knocking on our door before they get brutally cold, and most of us did see a little bit of snow move through.
Yeah, we did. We're going to talk more about that in a second, but take a look at the temperatures. You can see that cold air reloading back into the western Great Lakes. 1 in Duluth, 12 below zero in Winnipeg, 3 below in Thunder Bay. Yeah, some of us will be that cold in the coming nights. Stick around. I'll have your forecast details coming up.